This is everything I cooked for Sunday supper. Our family came over to watch some football, so I made a classic chili and cornbread, which I was really craving. But I started by making this caramelized shallot dip, so we had something to kind of snack on. So I chopped up a bunch of scallions and got those cooking down, and then I started on the chili. And I like to start my chili by browning the meat in batches first, so you get a really nice golden crust on the meat. I cut up all the aromatics for the chili, and then I finished off our shallots with a little paprika and sun-dried tomatoes. Once all the ground meat is nice and brown, I remove it, and then I sweat off all our aromatics, poblano, onions, garlic, and a little jalapeno until it's nice and soft. Then I return the meat back to the pan and add in all of our spices. I brown up some tomato paste in there for a really nice depth of flavor, and then I deglaze with some beer. Once the beer reduces, I add some chicken stock and crushed tomatoes, some bay leaves, and a little Worcestershire. And that's really it for the chili. Salt and pepper goes in there, and then I just let it simmer. While the chili cooked, I finished up the caramelized shallot dip, and then we ate that with some potato chips. Then I got working on the cornbread, and I was making a honey nut squash cornbread with brown butter. So I melted the butter and browned it up until it was nice and toasty, and then I mixed it with all the other wet ingredients, which was the honey nut squash puree, sour cream, milk, and eggs. The wet goes into the dry, and then I mix everything until it's just incorporated. I had a really hot preheated cast iron pan in the oven, and then I dropped in some butter and got our batter right in. The preheated cast iron with the butter really makes that lovely crisp edge on the cornbread. I got some rice cooking to eat with the chili, and then I had a little bit of squash puree left, so I made some squash honey butter to eat with the warm cornbread. Both the butter and the cornbread have such a lovely golden color. Then I set out all of our toppings for the chili: sour cream, jalapenos, onion, cilantro, and cheddar cheese, and of course some Fritos for dipping. I stirred in some black beans to our chili, and everything was ready. I served the cornbread nice and warm out of the oven with that squash butter. It just melts right on there, so perfect on the side of the chili. A nice little Sunday supper. Yum.